out into August, and while it's in the warehouse, we'll actually get out of it again before we catch up, because the amount that came in did not catch us all the way up. So that's still true. There'll be some time in August when we'll be out of lean chocolate again. But for this moment today, we are all of the products from our systems are in the warehouse, and we're beginning to ship them out in large quantities. 99.4%. I love to give very specific percentages. 99.4% of June systems have shipped at least partially, and now with this product now in inventory, we're starting to catch up the remaining extra partial shipments. July systems are shipping. Now we're into the second week of July partial systems, so that's moving forward, and we'll begin to catch those up over the coming weeks. And within a very short period of time, we'll be starting to build full systems. If you remember what we've talked about in the past, where we have built partial systems and we've been shipping those out, and we explained that a couple of times over the last little while. Sometime in the next week or so, we will go through all those partial systems. We're already in the process of now building full systems for everything that doesn't take lean chocolate, because the lean chocolate will still be out. So that's cores, that's ignites, and that's ultimates, except for the lean chocolate. And they'll be in the pretty boxes with the nice little tissue paper and the nice, beautiful boxes. That's the next set of builds that we do for systems are going to be the new full systems with the pretty boxes. Exciting? Everybody excited about that? I'm hearing great applause.
You're hearing Jana saying all the praise hands there, Russ.
All the praise hands. Very excited about that. We're excited for the future. We think that as we promised, we would get caught up by the end of July. It actually is going to bleed a little bit into the first part of August as we get all these systems caught up. It just takes a while to get through all the inventory. Things are starting to come faster and faster. People are getting products sooner and sooner. It feels very positive. Yes, there are still occasionally an order or two or five that have issues. That's always the case. It just seems more obvious now because that we've had delays with normal orders. That's all starting to move past us. We're so excited about where we've been in the last couple of weeks. Our supply chain team, hats off to them. They have, as we've been saying to you, there's no way out but through, and they just keep pushing through. We're very excited for all the work that they've done. The only products that we're currently concerned about to potentially having extra delays due to inventory concerns, the lean chocolate, which I mentioned. We have some in, but we're going to use all that up before we get caught up to order, so it's still going to be out in August. And potentially, they're not out of stock yet because we don't actually sell that many of them, but just know that Prime and Shine are low. And should we see a lot of orders of Prime and Shine, we may have a few days delay before those come in again in the first part of August. So because of that exciting news, this call we will only do for 2 more weeks. So we will do it next week, which I believe is the 3rd of August, and then we will do it again on the 10th of August. And then we, at that point, should be in a position where we're caught up so much that we don't need to continue to do this every week. We love talking to you. We're happy to answer your questions, but I think we'll all feel better about not having to do this call. So this call is going to be tonight plus 2, so the 3rd and the 10th of August, and then we'll probably end this call. Just a couple of notes about July. Over this weekend, we had a couple of interesting milestones. The first interesting milestone was Saturday, was our first $1 million subscription day. Never had a subscription day be $1 million in revenue all by itself. Just subscription, no other counting no other sales from Saturday. So it's our first $1 million subscription days, and subscriptions continue to be very strong. That's great news for your business. People are staying engaged even in the face of the shipping delays that we've had. July it has been for some time, but continues to be the best sales July in company history, 75% higher than last July. So as we take a step back and think, well, my volume is down from June. Remember, June and May were significant anomalies, and July is still significantly ahead of where we were last July. So if you have an opportunity and you can just go into your back office and go to that volumes report or even the commissions report and click on the period and go look at where you were if you were with us last July. Just go look and see where you were. For almost all of you, you're significantly lower last July than you are this July. So the progress over a year is exciting. We're 136% higher in enrollments this July than last July. So we're so excited for the growth, and we're ready to have you run. I have this sense, as I mentioned on a couple of calls that I've been on over the last little while, that people kind of eased off the gas a little bit in July as they kind of waited a little bit for us to get our shipping caught up. And as we're getting it caught up, it's time now. It's time to put your foot back on the gas. We're ready to run with you if you're ready to run. So with that as a brief update, let's just turn to Q&A, Ryan, and see if there are any questions that we can answer for folks.
There are. We'll start with this one. What about free systems, and when do we think those will begin shipping?
Good question. Good question. The free systems we're expecting to begin shipping the second week, roughly the 15th of August, and they will go out very quickly. We will make sure that those get out. They'll be in the nice boxes. They'll be with the nice paper. They'll ship completely, and those should start going out about the 15th, and all be caught up before the end of the month of August.
Next up, a couple of different questions along these lines, and they have to do with outstanding shipments. So a couple of people...
I lost that into the echo of whatever that was.
Yeah, sorry. A couple of people asking about a number of customers who are still waiting on some of their orders from May, and how are we doing on closing that gap?
I'm going to actually punt that one over to Josh Gagan, if you want to talk about specifically about where we are with May. Josh?
Yeah, so there are still some orders open from May, especially the ones that have Action and Accelerate associated with them. Again, Russ mentioned we have Action and Accelerate now back in the warehouse, so we plan on making a significant dent in those orders. But there are still some, like for instance, Lean Chocolate, those are shipping out now and will be catching up as well. But just know that this week, those orders from May, we anticipate that all of those orders should be shipping out this week, because again, as that inventory is in the warehouse and we're starting to release, they'll release to those orders. So by the end of this week, we should be pretty well caught up on all the remaining open stock type orders from May.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, there are a number of questions. Russ, some of these probably will be delegated as well to a few other people. When will full systems start to ship?
We're just going to leave Josh on the hot seat and let him answer some of these questions.
Yeah, the good news, the exciting news for that one, Ryan, is actually, so we're finishing up production of 3 systems right now that were already in production before all this inventory came in. So we're finishing those partial productions. They should be done today and tomorrow. And then after that, we'll roll right into the cores and the ignites. They'll be full systems. The next build we do, which should be kind of towards the end of this week and the beginning of next week, the cores and the ignites will be full systems. And the ultimates will also be in their pretty box, full system, with the exception of the Lean Chocolate. It will be missing from the ignite box, but the rest of it will be in that ignite system, in the ultimate box. So we anticipate that the shipping time, Ryan, on those items, those are going to be being built the end of this week and beginning of next week. So they should be shipping out the beginning of next week through the end of next week for the full systems to be shipping out.
That's related to another question, Josh. When do we anticipate that people will have in their entirety, including May, those that are still waiting on things for May, June, and July.
Your entire order done? Ryan, that's what Russ was mentioning earlier. We still anticipate that we're going to, with all the inventory in the warehouse now, we're going to be able to rock and roll quite a bit this week and next week, just from the sheer volume of inventory that's come in that we've got to get out of the warehouse. It is going to bleed into next week to catch some of that up. But we're super hopeful and confident that by the end of next week, we should be about there, Ryan, where we're caught up with those orders and back to where we're kind of in our normal shipping terms, like that you should be kind of getting your product in the normal 10-day period, assuming USPS, FedEx, and UPS don't have issues getting it to you.
Next,
Just to reiterate that, this week we're going to start shipping things with the oldest orders first. So we're hoping to just crank through all those that are missing a one or two products. And by the end of next week, those May and June orders that are just missing one or two products should be mostly caught up.
Yeah.
Is that fair, Josh? Okay.
That's our anticipation.
two slightly different questions, and maybe Curtis can answer this one. Customer service calls, hold times, how are we doing?
I would be happy to answer that, but we also have Jamie on here, and I don't want to misspeak. I'll speak generically, and then Jamie, if you want to add anything, you can. Today, if you were judging us by today only, you might have said that hold times were really long and still not great. However, a Monday is always one of our busiest days. A Monday immediately following a final day of auto ship on the weekend or subscription just gives us a double dose of busy. But if you look back across the last couple of weeks, we have consistently brought our hold times down. We've consistently brought the longest wait times in queue down. The abandon rate is down. The response times are improving. We're not back where we want to be and to the standards that we had established pre-pandemic, but improvements are being made. We've continued to hire more people. We had more start last week. We have more starting this week on the phones. We have successfully brought online an outsource partner who started helping us with emails last week and will be taking on calls this week as well. So there's good progress there.
That's everything I was going to say as well, Curtis. Today is kind of an outlier because of how large our subscription day we had over the weekend, and it's a Monday, so it was just kind of a perfect storm there. But definitely our wait times have gone down and abandon rate have gone down. And like Curtis mentioned, we have an outsourcing partner who is training this week to help with calls. We had one last week that was trained to help with the emails, and they've already done a great job at tackling those. So it's only going to get better from here.
Thank you, Jamie.
Subscription orders, Russ, when will we be back on track with those two?
I was going to answer that, but then Josh unmuted, so I'll let Josh go ahead.
No, go ahead, Russ.
So subscription orders should be back on track with the same pattern as everything else. We hope to be back shipping under normal windows sometime in the next 2 weeks, where we're back to regular, the normal shipping times you should expect. With the exception of the lean chocolate, all the things should start to ship sort of by the second week in August under normal shipping windows, with just regular the delays as expected from UPS and FedEx and U.S. Postal Service. But from our perspective, we should be regularly shipping as normal, sort of within the next 2 weeks or so. Is that fair, Josh?
Fair. Yep.
Couple of quick notes. These aren't questions, but I think they're worth noting. Just some sincere gratitude coming through from a couple of different people. Another one that just said, I just want to thank you guys for everything. Your energy and presence is completely different. Like the weight has been lifted, and that is a huge relief to all of us. So I think that's obviously great. There's a couple of questions about the 60-day money-back guarantee. And what does that apply to? Date shipped, even if it was in May? What happens if it goes longer? And one in particular who said, is there a 90-day money-back guarantee, and is that correct?
I don't think we've advertised a 90-day money-back guarantee. We've been talking about 60-day money-back guarantees for orders that were placed in May and June that are taking quite a long time to deliver. If they still are interested in a return of their original under the original money-back guarantee, and they have something from May, we'll deal with those on a sort of case-by-case basis. The same deal with the last few remaining from June. But at this point, the July orders should ship in a way that they don't need the extra 60 days. We've authorized Jamie and her team and member service, if people are particularly frustrated and they're outside their window, to deal with them on a case-by-case basis. So, but the 90 days, I don't know where that came from.
Couple of different questions.
Hey, Ryan.
Go ahead.
Really quickly, I just want to clarify. You know, if something has been said along the way, whether by a member service agent or even a member of the sales team, to the effect of a 90-day, there's been no formal announcement, as Russ indicated. So I just want to make sure we're really clear. There is not a 90-day return policy. Even if someone had indicated, hey, up to that many days, I can still help you out, or something like that. The only thing we have advertised as a company is an extension from 45 to 60, and then a case-by-case evaluation of specific account details as needed.
Thank you, Curtis. Next question is, will there be people, since there's still people waiting for in June, is there any chance for the $100 credit and the options that we offered to some of those people who placed orders in May?
So there's a chance. Just to let you in on what we're thinking. When we made the offer for the $100 credit to those orders from May, we made that offer at XLC, which was the 10th of July. That's such a long time between May and the 10th of July. We decided to offer the credit in May because we're so confident that we're going to get through so many things over the next 2 weeks before that 10th of August call. We will make a determination by that 10th of August call whether we're going to offer the same thing for June. But the reality is, if there are still at that point outstanding orders from June, we probably will offer that same $100 credit to those from June. So we're going to try to get through as many of them as we can. We should get through the bulk of them between this week and next week, but there's a high probability that come the 10th of June, if there are still outstanding orders from 10th of August, still outstanding orders from June, we will probably honor that same $100 credit.
That's confidential for now, not to be shared with your teams.
Yes, please.
That's for you as leaders to know that is on our minds, but that's not an announcement. Please don't share that with your teams, and especially not with customers at this point, as we have still not made that final decision.
Few more. Are we thinking of extending quick starts for July to 60 days like we did for May and June?
Curtis?
That is something that is an active discussion, that a decision has not been made on that. One of the challenges is when you tell people they have longer, they put on the brakes and wait out that duration of time. And right now we're hoping to put our foot on the gas, not the brake. So we're evaluating that, but we're not prepared to make an announcement of that.
Part of the reason why I'm grinning is because we literally were having that discussion as we came onto this call. So that's why I asked Curtis to take that one.
Next question, and maybe Josh, this may be one for you. Just a definition, if you would, please. Question is, what is an open stock item? So when we use industry jargon, shipping and supply chain jargon like open stock, what does that mean?
Yeah, Jesse, I saw that come through. I appreciate you getting the clarification on that one. So what we mean by open stock, when we use that term, it means it's a non-system order. So it's an order that is just an accelerate, or an order that has just an XR2 or an Omega on it. And so when I say we're going to be able to blow out these open stock orders, that means all these back orders that may have partially shipped and then created, that is missing an Accelerate or an Omega, that became an open stock order to us. And so we are now able to send those out in large quantities. That's kind of why we had focused on the system strategy of building the systems and trying to get as caught up as possible on those, is because we knew that when these come in, we can start shipping out all these individual open stock items really, really quickly from our warehouse. So that's what an open stock means. It's pretty much, it's not a system.
Thank you, Josh. When is Orange Pineapple Trim Sticks coming back?
Man, we've been very consistent about that date. It's October 37th. Sorry about the pun. The October 37th date is we're intentionally using that made-up date because when we do come back with it full time, we want to make sure you're confident and we're confident that it's back for good. So we're making sure that we're doing everything about everything else first, and then turn our attention to make sure that the Orange Pineapple Trim Sticks doesn't have any hiccups. It's just back in regular. It's available for you as a permanent promise as we made it XLC. It could be earlier, it could be later, but it's sometime in August or September.
Awesome. A couple of different questions about, and this is revisiting something I think we've already kind of talked about, but maybe some additional clarity. What about someone who is a member and still waiting from June? Are we going to do anything for them? That one's come up a couple of times since.
A member that's still waiting, doing for them similar to the $100 credit, which we've referenced before. Again, if it's their first delayed order, they're also getting the 35 points for a delayed shipment on their rewards points. Curtis, am I missing something?
No, I think that's everything, Russ.
So in terms of we're planning to do anything else, at the moment we haven't planned on anything else, but we will be reviewing that the $100 credit for remaining orders sometime in June, sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Next question. Are we proceeding with ZingFest in Kansas City?
Well, we certainly hope so. Our fingers are crossed. We are watching very carefully what the local authorities are allowing us to do, and what our alternative choices are. If it had to happen today, the local authorities wouldn't let us have the large gathering we were expecting to have. But a lot can change between now and in October. We're pursuing every opportunity and every avenue we can to make sure we have a chance to get together with all of you. Or as Jana Bullard taught me, all y'all.
Russ, I just want to add that we have a meeting coming up this week where we are going to be discussing Fest. Our events team has been gathering information about venues and the local regulations that would be required, what our options are. And so a lot of that is going to be presented to us in the coming days. And we're going to discuss and try to make the most informed decision that we can about the Fest event. As Russ said, fingers crossed, we would love to have it. We miss you all. We want to see you in person and not just on Zooms. So if we can do it, then absolutely we will. But we also have to do it in accordance with whatever those local laws and regulations are.
Well, a number of us here at the corporate office attended a luncheon conference a couple of weeks ago, and because we had to distance the tables from one another and could only have so many people at each table, and they had to serve instead of buffet style, all of the things that the current health restrictions are requiring. The ballroom that they had to use for the luncheon was probably 3 times the size of what it normally would have been. And those are just some of the logistical concerns that we're trying to work through with regard to just a normal, regular ZingFest event. So we're working through it. We're doing everything we can to make sure we have a some form of a live event. We just don't know what that's going to look like yet, or if it's even going to be possible. So fingers crossed, prayers going up to make sure we can do that, because we miss all of you.
I had if I may, Russ, real quick, early last week, I had a call with one of our leaders, and during that call, the person said, "You guys are getting really good at these virtual events." And my response was, "Well, thank you, but we don't want to get any better at these virtual events. We definitely want to do it face to face." Next one, since it is the last week of the month, this question is related to, I think, finishing the month strong, and as well as August. We're working on month-end promos for July and August. Should we proceed on our own? And the context is many are obviously still working for the Xyngular swag promo that we're running for this month in July.
That's for Curtis.
Gosh, I was hoping Ryan would take it. I'm kidding. I will say this for this group's knowledge. We do not have a month-end promo for July. The promotion that is out there right now with the swag is all that we are doing in the month of July. And so you should not expect anything else from us this month. TBD on August. You may or may not hear something from us later this week regarding things we might be doing in August. So you have to hold out for a few more days.
Thanks, Curtis. Next one, back to the $100 credit. This was asked, I think, in previous meetings. Are leaders able to get a list of those who were offered that on their team? And I think the reason that's being asked is there was a question remaining about legalities.
I do not remember. I wonder if Chris Crump is on the call, if he wants to take that from a privacy perspective.
I'm just excited that the legal guy gets to be on the call and answer a question. So yes, I'm on the call. The answer is legally, yeah. I mean, it's your team. You have the ability to get personal identifiable information of members of your team. The question then comes for me is, what are our IT capabilities? And if the IT can get that to you and can match that up, I have no problem whatsoever with you getting that information.
Okay. Jeremy, is that something you want to weigh in on?
So I knew I should have gone first and blamed it on legal and whether legal could allow us to let it go out or not. So, man, I should have jumped in sooner. So the answer to that is, yeah, we have a way to get all that data. The delivery mechanisms we've gotten, we may have to sit down with marketing, see if we can figure out a way how to email some of those out. Previously on stuff like this, what we had been doing is we've been relying on the member service leader support team to send out reports like this to the leaders, but without even having to ask Jamie, I'm certain they don't have bandwidth for that yet still, and although we are headed that direction to being able to have that bandwidth again soon. So it is something we'd have to figure out on how to deliver that we're not aware of today, but we can work on.
Thank you.
This one may be one for Jeremy as well. The question is, are the people waiting on product from May or June getting updated emails on their shipments, or just the one that was sent a couple of weeks ago?
So the email updates that are coming right now are updates that are coming when items of any sort from the order have shipped. So if that order has anything shipped, we do send out an email saying what has shipped with tracking number that goes with that appropriate order and what's in it, of course. There was a discussion today that I was talking to a member of Callie's team that helps us get those emails sent out to potentially be sending stuff, just reassuring people. We haven't forgotten about you. If you still have something waiting and we haven't shipped yet and it's been a little while, maybe like a once a week email or something. So we're having discussions about that. We are trying to be really careful as well, though. We know we've sent a ton of emails out, and we watch the response rates, and we try and be cautious of over sending emails, especially when it's just a, hey, heads up, we know you're still there. We haven't forgotten about you. We're going to ship it to you, we promise. Or, maybe even send them to something that offer some other value of some kind. But with some of the news that Josh has going now, if we really are caught up in the next week or two, we'll have to be considering that as well on sending emails for folks that still don't have anything shipping out, or should we just wait to send a shipping email?
Well, the last question that's currently in the Q&A, Russ, is not directly related to shipping and getting caught up, but it's a request. Can we get inception volume and subscription volume totals included in our emailed leaders reports?
That sounds like a Jeremy as well.
So Lisa, I'd have to double check on that. I am pretty sure that the reports that the group has access to, the leadership support group has access to, that they email out, they contain those data points. But in lieu of telling you something incorrect, let me follow up with you directly on that question after I've had a chance to just double check before I answer. So I'll follow up with you.
Russ, that's all the questions.
That's all the questions. That's an exciting day. We're pretty pumped about where things are. We're excited for a strong close to the end of July. We are tracking to be online with April and perhaps ahead of April. And the reason I bring up April is because April was substantially ahead of our best month ever when it happened. The reason why it seems a little bit down is because May and June were such strong months, but this is still an amazing month, and we're excited to have the strong close that we're having. And so with that, thank you very much. Anything else we need to cover, Ryan, before we close up?
Yeah, one last one. I think this is a good question. Lois asked that she ordered 3 action in her July rewards for subscription, and it's back ordered. So she asked, so will my 120 points count?
I'm not sure how to handle that one.
So,
Jeremy, do you want to do that one?
Russ, can I clarify what the question is on that? Are you saying that you ordered 3 action in July on your subscription, but since they're back ordered, they're not shipping yet, and will that 120 PV count? Is that the question?
I'm gathering yes. Lois can add some additional clarity if she needs to, but I think that is the question.
So if that's the question, yes. The rewards system just looks at what's been ordered and paid for. It does not require that those items be shipped for you to earn rewards points on those paid subscription items.
I think we're good. That was her question.
All right, well, everybody, thank you so much. Oh, looks like there's another question.
Well, Jana, Lois said that was the question. So
I think they're asking is if they had their subscription, but it hasn't shipped yet, are they still 120 qualified commission-wise for the month?
I think the answer to that is yes. Is it not?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll answer that. On a subscription order, I mean, Curtis, you can jump in too, but on a subscription order, once you've ordered it and paid for it, that volume will count in that period towards that period's volume. Even if it hasn't shipped, that period, that subscription will count towards that period's volume.
So
it's all rewards. Sorry, all rewards and all of commissions go off when it's paid, not when it's shipped.
Yes.
So thank you again. And we'll look forward to talking to you again next week, same time. Again, we'll do this 2 more times. And hopefully by that point, we'll just be back in our regular swing of things.